It's Time Machine night on The Masked Singer as Group A performs again, and we meet one of our final wild cards in the Jester. Let's talk The Masked Singer. Hey guys, Dan here. This is Dan Reviews It, and welcome to my Masked Singer recap and reaction video for the latest episode, Group A performing again. There's only a handful left from the beginning of Group A. The bull, we've got the skunk still in it, the hamster, and then the pepper, who was introduced a little more recently, and then our final in Group A, anyway, wild card is the Jester. We do have one wild card left. I guess that will be in Group B next week. That's the beach ball, I believe. But we've got an interesting show. I think, though, I've got a lot of these guesses down. I think over the last few weeks, you guys in the comments and me with my own brain, worked together to come up with a lot of these correct guesses, I do think. But before we get into tonight's episode, I do want to encourage you to subscribe if you have not yet. In the last week and a half or so, I hit 850 subscribers, trying to get to 1,000 before the end of 2021. So if you are not a subscriber yet, but you do enjoy my Masked Singer videos, please consider throwing a subscribe down there. And, of course, the comments are also important on the Masked Singer wrap-ups. Love talking with you guys about who might be under these masks. So let's get underway. We had a special time travel theme to the episode tonight. It was all playing old hits. And they all didn't really stick to that. Pepper did an Ariana Grande song, but a lot of the singers selected some older music. And then we also had a time machine clue after the performance, and we saw something from their past, and then they sort of gave us a little clue about that. So we had a guest panelist for, I guess, the first time this season, right? Leslie Jordan, who is part of the Fox family currently with the TV series Call Me Kat, which I believe is coming back in January. I don't think it's on right now, especially with Mayim Bialik hosting Jeopardy, but I think that's the reason Ken Jennings will be stepping in for her for a few weeks on Jeopardy so she can go film a few episodes of Call Me Kat in the meantime. But anyway, so Leslie Jordan, I first took notice of him in Will and Grace, of course, so classic comedy actor. But boy, they are really just, making us work for these performances because it was 5.5 minutes before we even got to the first clue package. They had to, introduce the people and do the time machine gag, and then Leslie Jordan came out and performed a song as the soft serve ice cream cone. So finally they got to it, so we're going to get to it as well. Bull was first up again. Last time Group A sang, he was the first one. He did Circus by Britney last time, but and this, by the way, these guys have performed, I think, 4 times now in Group A, and my notebook is, it's just, there's not a spare line in this notebook, and this is how much I'm writing. So starting in the next one, I'm going to have to start a new blank page and do the clues there. But, okay, so the clue package was all tonight about where you would go if you could go back in time into your own life. So the bull said he made a risky move, left a stable job to chase his dreams. We see some nails on a table. We see a picture of the duo Hall and Oates. We see comedy and tragedy masks. He said he was living in an apartment full of cockroaches. And then we see a Moulin Rouge type of motif that says Bull in Rouge, because he is the bull. All right, well, he sang To Make You Feel My Love from Bob Dylan, and I believe Garth Brooks did a version of that as well that was very good. And then from the past, we see an old school Mac, and that we hear the dial-up modem sound, and the bull says that sound will live rent-free in my head. All right, that's, popular slogan now. Oh, this lives rent-free in my head. But Ken picked up on the fact that maybe he was talking about rent, the Broadway show, and that I think leads into my guess. But because of that, Ken thought it was Taye Diggs. Leslie Jordan thought it might be Cheyenne Jackson, one of his Call Me Cat co-stars, very attractive man. And yes, I can see that. But look, none of Leslie's guesses were necessarily that good. He, is seeing these people perform for the first time. So we're going to throw that out. And then Jenny thought it was Lil Nas X, which Robin pointed out. Lil Nas is like really tall, 6'3" or something. So not the bull. For a few weeks now, I have been saying Todrick Hall on this. I don't know all the Broadway shows he was in, but maybe Rent was one of them. I know he was in Kinky Boots because we had a clue about that, but he certainly could have been in Rent. And so maybe Ken was right on the Rent clue, but just different performance cast of Rent. I don't know. But the comedy and tragedy masks certainly lead us to somebody on Broadway. And then the Hall & Oates picture, they keep doing things with Hall. They did Cooperstown for the Baseball Hall of Fame. We saw the Disney Concert Hall and Hall & Oates, Todrick Hall. So I'm sticking with that guess. I thought it was somebody else, I think, the first week. But since then, I have not really wavered. I do believe this is Todrick Hall. All right. And he got me before on it. I thought it was Todrick Hall one other time, and it wasn't. So, but I really am pretty confident this time. All right. So now the Pepper, we just met her the last time Group A performed. She said she would like to go back to when she first found fame. She was pulled in a million directions. She was doing interviews, award shows, and red carpets, and not living in the what's now. She was always thinking about what's ahead. She said she signed on to The Masked Singer just a few days before it started. That happened last year with our winner, Nick Lachey. He had signed on like 2 days before they started filming. And she said she's a bit of a wizard. And I detected a British accent when she said that because her R was a bit soft. So, yeah, I'm not good at accents, but, a bit of a wizard, something like along those lines. She's saying No Tears Left to Cry by Ariana Grande. And then for her time travel back in time, we saw an iPod, and she said, plug it in and let's get the party started. All right, now, this one actually had a celebrity BFF, too. I pointed out last time there was a celebrity BFF, but not everybody gets one. But I guess they do one per episode or something, and hers is Courtney Cox. All right, so I'm not sure of the significance of Courtney Cox, to be completely honest. But I was pretty convinced last. Oh, let me do the guesses from the panel. Pink once again was brought up. Idina Menzel from Ken, and Nicole thinking maybe Ellie Goulding. I thought the first time around this could be Natasha Bedingfield. I don't know really about a lot of these clues with Natasha Bedingfield specifically. I mean, everybody, when they get famous, goes on red carpets and interviews and award shows. So that didn't really tell me much. But the iPod, Ken was thinking the iPod was a reference to somebody who was famous in the early to mid 2000s. iPods came out, I think, in 03 maybe or something like that, 02, 03. So makes sense. I have nothing else but to double down on Natasha Bedingfield. The clues for me were so clear last time. They're sort of hit or miss this time, although she is British, so that would indicate the British accent there. But I'm going to double down. I think it's Natasha Bedingfield still. So, all right. Up next, then, was the skunk. Yes, and all right. So, for the skunk, she would go back to fix one of her biggest regrets. She was at a party one time, and pride wouldn't let her say hi to a loved one. But little did she know then, she would never see him again. And if she had only gone up and hugged him, it could have changed history. She sang Square Biz by Tina Marie. What a song. I actually know it best as the Hollywood Squares theme from the early 2000s. So that in itself is sort of a time machine. But Tina Marie sang that originally in the 80s. And her time machine item gift, whatever, was a pager or beeper, and we saw 607 on it. And she said, if someone sent me these digits, I'd feel like a dream girl. So Robin pointed out 607 means I miss you. So the clues there from the Dreamgirls connection, Jennifer Hudson was talked about from Jenny. Nicole thought maybe in close proximity, because they both recently played Aretha Franklin, it could be Cynthia Erivo, who lost her father, and could be talking about that. But Robin, he's on to this one. He guessed Faith Evans, and I have been saying that for the last few weeks now, not from the jump on Group A, but from the second time they performed. I said yes on Faith Evans, and tonight the clue package certainly cemented that. She was talking about the Notorious B.I.G., and in terms of the 607 and the Missing You thing, she did a song, I'll Be Missing You, about Notorious B.I.G. So for me, this one is a slam dunk. It's Faith Evans. All right, on to the hamster now. And he, if he went back in time, it would be on apparently some sort of Saturday, November 30th. And he said there was a party. There was some sort of after party at a Louis Miguel concert. And Leonardo DiCaprio was there, Drew Barrymore, and his wife was, hot and bothered by Louis Miguel. Jerry Seinfeld was there. He did a little bit of a Jerry Seinfeld impression in the clue package, and we saw him just guzzling from a water bottle. He sang a Louis Miguel song, actually, Salor a Mi, or something. And then for his time machine, we had a mini television, like one of those Sony Watchmans. And it said 1984 was the year on that. And he said he never imagined that one day he would be on the TV with all his amigos. All right, look, they do this every season with the Amigos bit. And so everybody guesses Martin Short, so that's immediately, of course, where they went. Martin Short was the first person guessed. Sean Astin was guessed by Robin, though, because they were going sort of on that Sandler tip. Sean Astin has been in a couple of the Sandler movies, including 50 First Dates. Mark Anthony was guessed by Leslie Jordan. Again, he doesn't know. And then Gabriel Iglesias was guessed by Nicole Scherzinger. Not a terrible guess, I don't think. But look, I think we've got this one down. This person was guessed before. I think maybe by Jenny. And she had guessed Rob Schneider. This is the person getting voted off. So we're going to do the take it off bit in a second. But let's go over everybody's first impression guesses, who they ended up on, and who I think it is. So Robin's initial guess was Cheech Marin, and he actually stuck with that guess. Of course, Tommy Chong was on, I think, season 1, or maybe season 2 of The Masked Singer. Jenny couldn't decide for her first impression guess, so she wrote down 2 people. You can't really do that in the game. Andy Richter and Jason Alexander, but she ended tonight on Rob Schneider. Nicole thought it was Jason Alexander and ended tonight on Gabriel Iglesias. Fluffy. Leslie thought the same. And then Ken started out with Bill Murray, but ended with a more recent SNL player, Will Ferrell. I think all the clues in the last couple of weeks have made it pretty clear this is Rob Schneider. And then tonight for the clue package, well, the Jerry Seinfeld clue, he did a Seinfeld impression on a Seinfeld-hosted episode of SNL. They did like a game show where they were all Seinfelds, and it was him and Dana Carvey, and I honestly can't remember the third one, Kevin Nealon maybe, but then Jerry Seinfeld himself was like the host of the show. So we've heard that before. And then Jenny picked up on what I thought. The Saturday, November 30th, Saturday was circled, Saturday Night Live, okay, and I don't really know Louis Miguel, but he mentions an after party in which all these famous celebs were at. He probably was the musical guest at some point in the 90s on SNL, and many people went to the after party. It could have been the Jerry Seinfeld episode for all I know. I know David Bowie was the musical guest on one of the Seinfeld episodes, but Drew Barrymore also hosted a bunch of times, and he mentioned her, so... look, I think this is pretty clearly Rob Schneider. The voice, honestly, is the dead giveaway. Even with the modulator and all that, it's pretty obviously Rob Schneider. But Jenny was the only one. Now, nobody said it for their first impression, and I didn't either. I said Andy Richter the very first week. So nobody's going to get, I guess, the golden ear on this one. But I think it's got to be Rob Schneider. So let's see who this is. All right, here we go. He's taking it off himself. Yeah, it's clear. Okay, it's clearly Rob Schneider. He's blowing kisses. I actually don't really like Rob Schneider that much. Oh, and the water bottle, too. I don't know if they'll say this, but the water bottle from this week's clue package. From the Water Boy, you can do it. His classic. I'm a little hit or miss on Rob Schneider. I think he actually does understand in his later years now that he's not actually that funny. But all those movies he did, like in the late 90s, early 2000s, were horrible. The animal and stuff. All right. Hamster making copies in his package. Oh, I'd never noticed that. But yeah, that's one of his most famous SNL bits was making copies. The Rich Meister. The scepter in his clue package is a nod to Rob's daughter, Elle King. I didn't notice a scepter either. I didn't notice any of this stuff from the clue packages. Okay, the recurring water bottle, yep, is a clue to his role in The Water Boy. And we've had some SNL players before. Anna Gasteyer was on before. He said one of the best experiences he's ever had. All right. Look, it's funny. I've softened my stance on Rob Schneider over the years. And I think because he kind of gets that he's, sort of not that funny, and he's hanging on Sandler's coattails, and he's very self-deprecating and self-effacing, and I can appreciate that. But when he was like the late 90s, early 2000s stuff, when he was doing the animal and the hot chick and all that stuff, I was just like, this guy is just a waste of everyone's time. But I think he kind of gets the Rob Schneider thing. So I'll give him a pass for that. But all right, so that's fine. Good for him. But yes, with the Seinfeld impression, with the Nick Cage, or the Elvis impression from a few weeks ago, Nick Cage and him did it on SNL, so that's why I thought of that. But he did an Elvis impression on SNL, and then he did it here on Masked Singer. After that second week, it became pretty obvious. All right, so finally we meet the Jester, which is one of our final wild cards. I couldn't think of the word there. We have one more, I believe, and that's going to be in Group B, which is the beach ball. But in Group A, the Jester is our final one. And this was an interesting sort of reveal. He came out from the back and sort of gave the audience high fives, denoting that, yes, there is an audience again this season, not just the prepackaged clips. And then the clue package. All right. He said he's the wildest wild card yet. This one actually didn't have anything to do really with a time machine, but he said he's been called an icon, changed the course of history. Then he burps in the clip. He was on the 100 most influential people of all time. He didn't say whether that was like a Time magazine list or who made the list, but that's what he was called. He said he's been called a scoundrel. He's offended heads of state, been banned from famous venues, but he is not a bad guy. He's a lovable clown to make you laugh, and he wants to entertain this court. He rocked out to Schools Out by Alice Cooper, of course. A great throwback there. And then for his time machine, we saw a plaid jacket. It said circa 1975, and he said, this is pure style. All right. The guesses from the panel included Jenny's guess of Dee Snider from Twisted Sister. Not bad. Ricky Gervais from, I think Leslie Jordan actually said that. And Russell Brand was also brought up. And then Roger Daltrey from The Who was brought up as well. Now, this Jester does have some padding on his stomach. But is it real? Is he actually a portly gentleman? Or is this just costume padding? That remains to be seen. I have somebody in mind for this, but they are a pretty big A-list star. And so it's kind of throwing me because I'm not sure if this person is going to do the show, but he does seem like the kind of person that would be up for anything. So maybe it is, but some of these clues here. So been called a scoundrel. So the two things I think of immediately is School for Scoundrels, which was a movie with John Heder and Billy Bob Thornton, and there was a few side people in that as well. There is a portly gentleman in that, Horatio Sands. But then also Dirty Rotten Scoundrels, but I don't think it's Steve Martin or Michael Caine. Certainly not Michael Caine. So I don't know if that has anything to do with it, but this bit of changed the course of history, 100 most influential people, and then the singing style. I think this is not a great guess because I think this seems like a Ken guess. This person is so famous, but he's guessed a lot on this show. I think it could be Jack Black. And I find myself irritated with that guess because I think he's too famous to do this show. Now, it could also be Kyle Gass, which is Jack Black's, cohort in Tenacious D. But the other thing, the 100 most influential people of all time, it could be, right? Jack Black could be on that list. I also thought, though, of, because they were doing an accent. I couldn't tell if it was a real accent or put on. But I thought of Sacha Baron Cohen as well, and just, doing the padding. But I think he's too famous as well to be doing the show. So I don't know. But changed the course of history. Well, he was in a movie, Jack Black was in a movie called Year One. Bad movie. But, okay, that was, about sort of the history of time, whatever. Back in Year One, caveman times. But then also changed the course. So you go and take courses at a School of Rock, and then he sang Schools out. I don't know. Maybe I'm insane. Tell me in the comments who you think the Jester is. Am I close? Because it could be an old school rocker too. I didn't hate the Roger Daltrey guess. It could be somebody like Gene Simmons from Kiss. I mean, he's probably been on an influential list. But I don't know. I'm gonna say Jack Black. I think he's too good for this show, but who's to say, really? So you let me know in the comments if I'm way off base on that. All right, and that will do it. Next week, I assume we're gonna have Group B. And with that, I think meet our final wild card in the beach ball. And then we'll go on from there. Then I guess eventually we'll whittle the groups down to their top performers, and then they will merge into the final head-to-head, I guess, in a few weeks. So, all right, that will do it. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye.